Have you ever heard of a plant that basically looks like bottled sunshine? It's this legendary wildflower with bright yellow petals, and for centuries it's had this reputation for, well, chasing away the blues. Today, we are diving deep into the really complex story of St. John's wort.
Its story is just woven deep into folklore. It's named for St. John the Baptist because it tends to bloom right around his feast day in late June. For hundreds of years, people believed it held this special kind of power. Get this, when you crush the petals, they release this reddish oil, which was said to be the blood of the saint himself. And that oil was seen as a potent remedy to lift your spirits and ward off sadness.
Okay, it's a beautiful story, but you know what we have to ask? Does the legend actually hold up when you put it under a microscope? Let's follow the evidence and see where it takes us.
First things first, let's tackle its biggest claim to fame, treating depression. So we're leaving these sunny meadows of folklore and stepping into the much more sterile world of the modern clinical trial. A recent study really put St. John's wort to the test for major depressive disorder. And this wasn't just any old study. We're talking a multi-center, randomized, double-blind trial. That is the absolute gold standard for medical research, designed specifically to eliminate any bias. For a full 8 weeks, researchers tracked its performance, and it gave us some of the clearest data we've ever had.
And the results? They were really impressive. Patients taking St. John's wort showed what's called a statistically significant improvement. Not only did their depression scores drop, but they also saw a reduction in their physical symptoms, what doctors call somatic symptoms. That's the real, tangible stuff, like fatigue and aches that can come with depression.
But let's zero in on that number for a second, 61.6%. That was the response rate. In other words, a huge majority of the patients in the trial actually responded positively to the treatment. This wasn't a fluke, it showed a measurable, real-world effect.
So here's the kicker. This isn't some fringe remedy anymore. Its effectiveness is so well documented that some international guidelines actually recommend it as a first-line treatment for mild to moderate depression. That puts it right up there, on par with some conventional prescription antidepressants.
But hold on, the story doesn't stop there. The plant's power goes way deeper than just mental health. Turns out, St. John's wort has another, equally potent, secret power.
So, beyond the mind, St. John's wort gets to work on a cellular level. A totally different type of study looked at its ability to protect living cells from damage, specifically from toxins like heavy metals.
And this just brilliantly shows its protective power. In a lab, an extract of St. John's wort basically acted like a shield for onion cells that were exposed to a toxic heavy metal. It literally reduced DNA damage and lowered oxidative stress, which is kind of like cellular rust, all thanks to its rich cocktail of really powerful bioactive compounds.
So, let's recap. It's effective for depression, it's a powerful antioxidant. It sounds like a miracle cure, doesn't it? Well, this is where the story takes a very sharp and very serious turn, because the plant's power is exactly what makes it potentially so dangerous.
This quote just frames the problem perfectly. Think about it. Any substance that is powerful enough to help you has to be powerful enough to harm you. And this plant carries some significant risks that you absolutely cannot ignore.
So here's the main problem. Your liver has these enzymes that work like a cleanup crew, processing all the medications in your body. St. John's wort comes in and basically puts that crew into overdrive. It makes them work way too fast. And as a result, your body clears out critical medications before they've had a chance to do their job, which can make them way less effective or even useless.
And the consequences? Well, they can be absolutely devastating. Just look at this list. Taking it with birth control pills can lead to an unplanned pregnancy. Mix it with other antidepressants and you risk a potentially fatal condition called serotonin syndrome. It weakens heart medications, blood thinners, even the drugs that stop your body from rejecting a transplanted organ. We're not talking about minor side effects here. These are life-threatening interactions.
Okay, so after weighing all the science, the incredible benefits, and the really serious dangers, what is the final verdict on this legendary plant?
I think we need to completely change how we think about St. John's wort. It's not just some gentle, simple herbal remedy. No, it is a potent bioactive compound. It's effectively a drug that actively alters your body's chemistry, and it demands the exact same respect and caution as any pill you'd get from a pharmacy.
So what's the bottom line? Yes, it absolutely has proven benefits for depression. And yes, it's a strong antioxidant. But And this is the crucial part. It also has life-threatening interactions with other drugs. And that brings us to the most important takeaway of all. Just because something is natural, that does not automatically mean it's safe. The very thing that makes this plant so powerful is also what makes it so dangerous.
St. John's wort is really a perfect case study in how complex natural medicine can be. It forces all of us to be more critical, to ask better questions, and it leaves us with one final thought. If this incredibly popular, well-studied herb has such a dramatic, hidden dark side, what other remedies and supplements sitting on our shelves deserve a much, much closer look?